I like that my whole thing is that I'm a giga editor with like a career history in fucking special effects in Marvel movies, but my fucking content is like the cheapest and easiest one there is. I just look at drama videos and I just call people fucking idiots. Final Fantasy 14 bad healer gameplay is because of bad tanks. I guess. I'm not sure if there's like a question mark or healers are bad or are they adapting to bad teams. I, I know Cole like plays healers well, and the warrior who is technically a healer, but like he has not had like decent healer takes as far as I remember his videos. But let's see what new drama comes up now.
See really quick. So there was a Reddit post made saying, I think a lot of bad healer play that we see gets reinforced because of bad tank play and vice versa. I'm not going to go into the exact details of the
I'm gonna. I think a lot of bad players play that we see get reforms because of bad tank play and vice versa. Healers and tanks have a symbiotic relationship, and the way one plays affects how the other plays. By bad healer play, I mean they don't DPS ever, they spam Cure 1 or any GCD healing rather than using a myriad options available to them that will do the job and more. They save all their OGCDs for emergencies, but still don't use... This sounds just like a World of Warcraft playstyle. I don't think this is a bad healer play. I think this is just a new healer play. Because new players just don't understand that there's a specific balance between damage and keeping the team alive, which is like part of the healer job in 14. It's not just about keeping the team alive. It's about being useful. But when you look at all the bad tank play out there, such as don't use mitigation ever, gigantic pulls combined with no mitigation ever, or the opposite, tiny little baby weenie hot junior pulls also with no mitigation ever, low eye level gear doesn't fucking matter. You find the things you're describing here can only be found in dungeons. Don't use AoEs. Yeah, again, this is just a dungeon discussion again. I do understand that like there's a lot more depth to jobs than people think. Rotations are simple. The depth and like the traits and whatnot are a bit more deeper on a lot of jobs. So a lot of people don't read through that, especially when they get to max level. This is a more popular issue specifically with tanks because people will just pick up tanks or healers for a faster queue, but you can see it a bit more obvious on tanks when they're like, they get to max level and they don't know what their skills do or what their mitigation is. Though, to be fair, same with healers. I also had a similar situation recently as well, but the healer was just... I don't know what the fuck was wrong with the healer, but that's a story for another day. The logic of the bad healer starts to make a little bit sense. The bad healers play with a bad tank and goes, I can't DPS or focus or anything other than healing because everyone HP is dropping like a rock. And the bad tank goes, I can do large pulls because the healer can't keep up or will run out of MP if I... None of them think that. None of them think that. Which leads into the you pull, you tank mindset. Also, none of them think that. These are specifically either new players or players that came from World of Warcraft. No one is that fucking spiteful. Usually people, like, if healers need to heal instead of DPSing, they will just heal. They will not even say anything, they just want to get through the dungeon. Same with tanks. They will, if they start doing smaller pulls, people will most likely not care. If they start an argument, that's not the problem with their skill levels. That's gonna be a problem with people. If you start arguments specifically in dungeons in a video game. Because, like, no fucking tank ever pays attention to the healer mana. I promise you this. The high-end ones will. So, like, we can sometimes tune into my streams when I'm raiding. Like, I will pay attention to who needs to res, depending on the mana. If some... Like, basically what I'm saying, the good tanks are gonna pay attention to the healer mana. The bad tanks are not gonna pay attention to healer mana. You pull, you tank, that's a dumb fucking mindset, especially in 14, because, like, where are you gonna go? There's no alternative paths for you to take by sacrificing a teammate. You're either helping us get this fucking shit killed faster, or, you're weird. You're just weird, you're just standing there watching, and then we're just gonna vote kick you. Don't you know how dangerous these enemies are? Me and the healer can't handle that much. Screw you for pulling more. We know better about what we can handle. They never saw a healer pre-pull. course, the problem is that they're both being unbelievably bad at unbelievably bad at their. See, this is kind of like the crux of this issue here. They found someone who is unbelievably bad, or in other words, a new player. At their role, if they were actually good at what they're doing, they'd realize that the rest of us who say tanking and healing in the game is super easy aren't just being elitist, no-life douchebags. Oh my god. Wait, hold on. Tanking and healing in this game is super easy aren't just being elitist, no-life douchebags at... He is like... This person is like bringing up a lot of extremes. This is not a good take. I'm not saying like the good players are elitist, but it's like when you think about it, doing your job is not hard. Doing mechanics most often is. But like, you got the 2-minute rotation. Unless you're doing ultimates, you're not going to be adjusting and anything within that 2-minute rotation. As a tank as well, you got your rotation and you just got cooldowns. You press on them at the right time and you don't die. Same with healers. Like, this, outside of gear level, like even with like the minimum requirement item level, like for dungeons or even savage raids, if people just press the right buttons at the right time and just play a bit considerate and coordinated, it's not that it's easy, it's just that the game is just made tanking and healing very easy. There's a reason there's not a lot of healers, because the job is boring as fuck. It's not because it's easy to do good, it's because the job is easy itself. Same with tanks. Everything else in this game becomes super easy, boringly easy. In fact, when you do that, wait, hold on. Aren't you just being elitist, but are using our abilities the way they're meant to be used? I guess that is the point, but the way he's phrasing it is really fucking weird. So what we have here is a negative feedback loop, which you're starting, honestly. Where the bad tank play reinforced... No, that's not how this fucking works. That's not how this fucking works. 14 players are very fucking proud. They're giga proud. Who have you given advice to in a dungeon or a savage fight or anywhere, actually, just extreme anywhere or normal raid, and you gave someone advice? Hey, you should use arm's length on big groups because it slows down attacks and casts of the enemies if they hit you. Are they gonna do it? No. They're gonna play the way they played before. Nothing's gonna change. Players are majority of players in 14, they learn by doing it themselves and kind of figuring out eventually. The problem is most of the skill level increases and prog in this game is specifically prog is made when the last idiot in your group figures out the mechanic. It's that's pretty much this game. TLDR, when one person in a team does their job poorly, everyone else starts to do poorly to compete. No. We do not have that kind of teamwork. We do not. Like, some players do have that instinct to do that, but most of the time, people will specifically do the blame game. Like, we even joked recently in one of our raids, like, oh my god, you did this because of that. Well, I was doing this because of that. Well, you know what? The tank died because the dancer was in the wrong position. And it's like, it's always going to be like a vicious cycle. So this whole thread shouldn't be taken seriously, honestly.
The post, but it's talking about bad healer play, meaning that they're casting a lot of on GCD heals, they're not using their off GCDs properly, like holding them on for emergencies, example benediction, and that there's tanks.
Cole, can you come closer to the fucking mic? I get it, you have like a mic and you're just kind of like, I guess, leaning back on your chair and just talking into the ceiling, but come closer. Come closer. I can hear the fucking echo in your room. I can hear how empty your room is. I can hear the sweat dropping off of you. That's how fucking far from the mic you are.
That are just not using mitigations, they're not doing proper pulls, and that there is a negative feedback loop that bad healer and bad tank play is basically being reinforced by each other. I'm going to start this video by talking about co-healers. Totally not mentioned in this post at all, but we have...
Yeah, why are you starting with co-healers? This person is literally talking just about dungeons. This is literally just about dungeons. What the fuck? Who the fuck uses AoE on pulse? Okay, whatever.
So many different forms of content in this game where you're going to be paired with another healer in order to overcome that content. Even at the highest end of content, like Ultimate and Savage content, you are paired with another.
I like that he literally just kind of like skips like most of the points and just goes immediately into the content not discussed in the thread.
I know a lot of you are going to be familiar with the term chatting, but I know that a lot aren't, so let me explain it. So
Chatting. Okay.
chatting the other healer is very common in this game, even at the higher levels of gameplay, even if you are doing like Savage or Ultimates in PF. Why would I know that? I know that and I have lived it. And what it basically
You cleared like one ultimate and you bought the other. I don't think you lived it, Cole. We all know. Let's not start pretending you're a Hind Raider after one like T clear.
is that you are not helping the other healer. You're not say you're playing a barrier healer and you're not placing down your sacred soil, which is an upfront mitigation as well as a slow trickle of heal over time for the entire party. It's a brilliant, awesome skill, bread and butter. Every barrier healer should be using that for as many AoEs as they reasonably can. But because you're not doing that, all of that is going to fall down to your co-healer. And if your co-healer is another barrier healer,
In my experience, my co-healer will usually just fucking fuck around. If someone's dying and I'm not the one topping them up, they'll probably just let everyone die.
like let's say that
Also, the thing he's talking about here, it's not chatting or whatever the fuck he's talking about. It's literally miscommunication. It's when two healers do not talk to each other. Like, he's already, like, talking about two different situations. Like, the post was talking mainly about dungeons, because, like, most of the stuff talked about applies there to dungeons. Meanwhile, what he's talking about is an organized group. Organized group talk to each other. They organize. They plan cooldowns. I promise, like, if you and your co-heals just have a chat, hey, I will use my cooldowns here, I will use you can use your cooldowns here, we use both our cooldowns here, and everyone stays alive. We heal them until they do not die. Easy. What you're describing is just a really bad fucking static, if they don't talk. Otherwise, it's just Party Finder, and people are just trying to get their gear.
that you are a scholar who's not using your cooldowns and that you're paired with a sage, oh my god, in certain extreme trials, that is going to be super stressful as the healer's just spamming, like,
What? Scholar and Sage? What is... Wait, hold on. What the... I'm trying to figure out his point here.
your cooldowns and that you're paired with a sage.
Uh-huh.
Oh my
Sage?
god.
Scholar?
In certain extreme trials, that is going to be super stressful as the healer's just spamming. Like, do I just spam prognosis? Because you know what? I used my Pepsis on my last shield and I just can't get everyone's HP up, and
Huh? With two shield healers, you have so much mid, they don't need to use GCDs. Like, legit, even if they start stacking their cooldowns, and he's talking about extreme raids right now, before anyone fucking goes for me in the comments. He's talking about extreme trials right now. Like, because in Savage, you're organized. It's the same with, like, if you are clearing or re-clearing Savage, or even progging, you're gonna communicate with your Sage, because nobody's that fucking daft that they don't know that the shields do not stack. So they're gonna plan shit with their co-heal. On Extreme, I'm guessing he's talking about Party Finder again. Like, if people are just spamming their cooldowns in a situation, in an Extreme, where shit is happening roughly every 30 to 45 seconds, you have plenty of cooldowns between the two. Sure, if they're newbie healers and they don't know what their skills do, they haven't read them, they just leveled them up because funny glamour or some shit, or they won the crown for leveling all the jobs. Like, even in panic moments, if both of those healers are just gonna start spamming cooldowns, everything's just gonna be dandy. Everything's gonna be fine. Because no Sage or Scholar, and he's specifically talking about extremes, and that means like late game. No Scholar or Sage has a habit of specifically spamming, their AoEs just to keep the group alive. They'll use that sometimes. Pepsis, emergency tactics, sure. Yeah, early game, if you're just leveling, maybe in dungeons you'll have this trouble. On extremes or normal trials that you can get thrown in, that usually doesn't matter. You outscale it out the bud. On late game, I feel like you're just kind of like creating a situation that doesn't really exist. Either you have very new players, or these are just players that just don't talk and just spam for no reason. Because in most cases, you are aware that your co-heal will do something in certain situations. If you're playing with a Sage, for example, you know there's going to be a Kirikoli for most of the raid wights. Yeah, you can help out. Soil and the Kirikoli do kind of have different effects, so they can stack on each other. So go for it. But yeah, whatever.
And it's like, yeah, you're gonna probably need to spam prognosis. You're getting chatted pretty hard. And I think that is like the nuclear.
The whole situation, like even the situation he's describing, it usually happens between a shield healer and a regen healer. That kind of shit does not happen between a double shield composition. Like chat healing, the way he described is if you're not feeling that your co-heal is, bringing enough pull with their cooldowns. That's it. And you're kind of panicking. That's it. That, like, your own actions of panic making your co-heal the chat. At least as far as I'm understanding what the fuck he's explaining, and I'm not entirely understanding what he's explaining.
Your option if you have like two barrier healers together and they're chatting each other, because at least with pure healers you have some ability to like cover because you get like Medica 2. And now let's look at White Mage.
All healed before. What is he talking about? You have a way to cover your other healer, like Medica 2. All the cooldowns to say he went with Medica 2. Cure 3. Anything. Like any fucking cooldown. And he went planetary on White Mages as well. Any, like, why the regen AoE? Why the Medica? This is gonna bother me now. Oh my god, I did not heal for so long just to be bothered by this. Whatever.
Mage getting chatted. The adaptive response to a newer player or someone who's not as familiar for 14 being chatted on White Mage is, okay, I don't have my Afflatus Rapture up. I used Plenary Indulgence, say 45 seconds ago. It's not going to be up for another 15 seconds. I am going to need to spam Medica 2. And in...
Why spam Medica 2? You cast it once. You cast normal Medica because it's going to heal more and cost more. The initial heal, if you're spamming anything, it's just the normal Medica, not Medica 2. Am I bugging? Do I need to actually double check these fucking spells for this guy? Hold on, I'm googling this. Am I actually losing my fucking mind? Medica 2, yeah, regen. Okay, let's do Medica. Yeah, so the difference is you either spam a spell that costs less mana and gives 400 potency per cast, or you're spamming a spell that does cure potency of 250 and then 150 through 15 seconds. If you're starting to spam a spell, it's not going to be Medica 2. Yeah, I'm not bugging. Okay. God, if only these people fucking did what I'm doing, like, double checking what the fuck they're talking about. Also, is this max quality? Doesn't feel like it. I guess he's not experienced with double shield comp. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like he needs to be thrown just like into a high-end group and just shut the fuck up for a week. Let them just teach him. Just explain. So he's not gonna remember most of the knowledge, but at least he will have like an experience of that fucking level of understanding jobs. Because I don't know why, like, either him or Despairs are just gonna start misinforming people about weird fucking situations or combinations of stats or how spells work, and it turns out it's just a Google away to just double check your information.
In this situation where they're getting chatted by their other co-healer, they are learning kind of the hard way that, hey, if my co-healer isn't doing this, I guess I need to spam Medica. And then that just gets reinforced by like multiple experiences. And let's be real here, we've all had the experience of getting, or most healers who are on this channel have had the experience, the joyful experience.
Don't fucking bring your audience into this. Don't bring your audience into this. You are misinforming your audience and you're now bringing them into this. No, you do not get to tell that your audience is also like you. No, you stop.
Of being chatted. And in that, in kind of like retrospective looking back, is that really a poor response to have? No, because they still managed to carry the group and get them out of that, even though it was a sub-ideal environment for them. And as such, this is why we're seeing so many Medica 2 bots, even at the higher ends of rating, just because they never had a consistent co-healer that was like, hey, I'm going to consistently make sure that their Sacred Soil, Fey Illuminate.
I don't know how I feel about him trying to talk about healers and how their job is complicated in which situations while he's doing P2 in T as a warrior and he's on brutal justice. He does nothing the entire phase. I'm not sure how why I'm like I don't know. It's a small thing, but it's ticking me off that he is doing the phase where he does like the least work to carry, and he's talking about healers carrying because they're spamming spells. Healing parses do not fucking matter. If any of you Cole viewers ever see this video, your healing parses will not define you and they will not matter. If you healed and you kept the team alive, doesn't matter if your parse is 9. Depending on the fight, it's like 100 healing parse just means you healed all the damage. That's it. That also means you overhealed. That means you didn't let your co-heal do anything. That's just what it means. If you're a panic healer, you're not carrying the group. You're creating a liability, because that also means like that is a lot of resources put into nothing, when it could have been a much easier experience for both you and your team.
Or some kind of garbage out there. Now let's get to what the post is talking about, which is tanks not using cooldowns. And this, we all know, anyone who's healed, that a lot of tanks, I'd say maybe 60-70% of all of my expert runs and stuff, especially in like even.
I like that he went what is the correlation? So, guys, let me tell you about having a co-healer. Anyways, extremes where you have a I kind of see the string of logic, but it's so difficult to kind of make out like the vividness of this like string of logic. It's like you could have said a lot of like examples early on, but it's like I feel like it shouldn't be this one.
Even more casual content, it is going to have tanks basically not using mitigations just because they don't see the point in a lot of it, or they're only going to use it during an emergency and then they all blow like Rampart, Shadow Wall, the Blackest Night, and like every cooldown under the sun for a tank buster that really, even without any mitigation, doesn't really hurt that bad. Let's face it, in Expert Roulette, it's the ads that hurt. The bosses are so nice. And like
he is correct on this point, that the boss is not gonna wipe the group. Sometimes they will, depending if people just not doing mechanics or eating all the AoE. Or they just, ate an unfortunate debuff and the healer doesn't have a Isuna on their bars for some reason. But, and he is correct that you should be blowing your cooldowns, both defensive and offensive, on, well, probably not all offensive, but like you should use your 2-minute burst on the first trash bag, because by the time it's back up, you're going to be at the boss after the next trash bag. But in terms of defensive, yeah. Most issues in dungeons, expert roulettes, leveling, and anywhere, specifically in dungeons, arguments like this do happen because people will deal with a lot more hardship and damage intake during dungeons. So he has a point on this one. I'm just not sure how this point is connected.
likewise, in order to make up for the lack of mitigation tanks using, the healer's gonna need to spam heals into them, being like, please don't die, spamming Eucrasian Diagnosis Barrier over and over again, which is like one of the...
Again, so fucking unoptimized. Why would you spam Eucrasia Prognosis? Why not just Prognosis? Just more potency. You don't need to shield them. You're using 2 GCDs just... Well, not 2 GCDs, but you're... No, actually, yeah, you are using 2 GCDs just to put 1 shield. Just spam Prognosis. It's gonna have higher potency without the shield, and you can spam it a bit more actively than through Eucrasia. Do not listen to Cole's fucking optimization. Spam Medica 2, spam Eucrasia Prognosis. No, stop. Stop. Don't. Stop it. Spam normal heal spells.
the worst things you can do, because at least with Scholar you have Eos or Selene at least still pumping heals.
Stop. What the fuck? I mean, I appreciate him mentioning my girl Celine, but stop. What the fuck? At least on Scholar, you have a fairy healing everybody. Hold on, let me check. Is it she heals for like 50 potency, doesn't she? US FFXAV. Let's see, how much does she heal? 150 potency. That is close to nothing. That is less what tanks heal on their like healing GCDs. She heals one target and you can control who. Yeah, but I assume he also means like the cooldowns or whatever. Karde is also good, but it's like still like the 150 potency. If people are dying and you have to spam spells, those 150 potency are not gonna help. Spam your good cooldowns, the ones that do healing. Also, as a healer, for example, there's a good guide by FFXAV Momo, specifically how to play Scholar in dungeons. He talks a bit more about optimization or how to use your spells or even damage optimization. He has a bit more insight into this than whatever the fuck Cole is talking about, so I'd recommend checking out that video rather than listening. I mean, you can listen to this. I'm not gonna tell you who the fuck to watch, but like check people who actually are more optimized and more coherent in their experience as what they play.
Whereas with Sage, you don't get the Cardi effect, and that sucks. But something that I also
With Sage, you don't get the Cardia effect. You can spam you can literally swap Cardia on off GCD. A decent Sage is not just gonna keep it on one target. He will calculate and play it properly. He will spam Cardia between targets, especially in a dungeon. It's a lot easier when it's not 8 targets. In a dungeon, you can spam it between 4 people and keep them up top. In a dungeon, it's a lot easier to just spam Cardia and just swap it between targets. It's an off GCD. You can swap it like it's not even, it's more swappable than Dance Partner. You can heal a lot with Cardia if you are a competent Sage.
don't see listed here is I think even more common, and it is where DPS I usually
Like a good example used to be I played Sage in P4S. Like on some like you would do the tether, you do the the Corona pass on like the first major mechanic of P4S P1, for example. And the group after the raid wipe is left fairly low. I know the tank is going to be using their invuln for the next tank buster, so I just kind of spam my Cardia across several targets, top them up, so we don't need to use any major cooldowns before we have to start running around and get pushed back, pushed around by the water mechanic. So it's like if you're you plan your shit and you're smart enough and active enough, it's like you can like the whole core mechanic of being a healer is to be efficient. To be efficient and have a solution to problems. If you're panicking, you're inexperienced. And panicking is not a good experience. Start calculating, start planning. If the tank starts dropping low, I have these cooldowns ready. If tank starts dropping low, I also have this to pre-mitigate risk. If he starts dropping like midway through his health and not like heavy, if people in my group start taking damage, I have these buttons to do that. Like I swear to God, if this whole video is gonna all come down to you're a grown ass person, fucking read the tooltips, then it's gonna be so sad. Also, I'm not a fan of his UI. He has debuffs here, and they're just overlapping his UI with cooldowns.
actually don't see DPS using their big cooldowns on the trash pulls, which again, like
Oh, they do. They do. You just need to find the right DPS. In roulettes, you're usually getting people who are either leveling jobs or just want tombstones kind of quickly. They're not going to optimize. Nobody optimizes dungeons. I guess against unless they're speedrunners, but it's like sometimes they do. Sometimes you will have one fucking Chad caster like between packs who will LB to the fucking trash pack. That is a good move.
I cannot emphasize enough. It's the mobs in between the bosses that actually are the really big thing, especially to the healer. It's not going to be the boss. Like the bosses, especially in expert roulette, are just not hitting that hard. But
Especially in expert roulette. Talk about leveling instead. Then the leveling roulette is gonna be where they're gonna hit hard because a lot of people are missing a lot of
I
cooldowns.
cannot tell you how often it almost
Though, actually, no, I'm gonna backtrack on that statement because you're missing cooldowns, healers are actually gonna heal instead of relying on you to use your cooldowns because you don't have any. Neither do they.
feels like it is 70% plus the time that I see the DPS just using their most simple, most basic rotation. And I'm not talking about single target. So thank God, usually that's not what I see. Sometimes, but not usually. Usually it's just basic AoE. And then they're just uploading and building up their gauge for the boss, which, I mean, if you want to.
You do it on the second pack. On the first pack of a dungeon, use your cooldowns, use your opener, use your AoE, big AoE bursts. Do that. During the second pack, do that. Prepare that so you have a decent opener on the boss. A boss is single target. But yeah, but specifically generate your gauge and prepare anything you need for the boss on the second pack rather than the first.
Think about it in terms of like, is this like a savage?
There's a reason also a lot of like decent tanks. Well, I say decent, the ones that can do that, like Gunbreaker or, for example, Paladin. On the first pack, instead of making the healer heal, they will just invul. They will invul, they'll throw Aurora on themselves, or if they're a Paladin, they will just not be taking damage. Or they will kitchen sink it if they're a warrior or you don't need to kitchen sink as a warrior. As a Dark Knight, you will kitchen sink. As a warrior, you'll just heal up, and everyone can just DPS the fuck out of the first pack.
Savage raid.
Actually, the more I think about it, I don't see a lot of tanks used. I was gonna say I don't see a lot of tanks use that, but then I remember I'm the fucking tank in my own dungeon, so
I guess it's the closest thing to Savage Raid, the boss in an expert dungeon, but totally different content. But what this does is it drags out those large trash packs, which is the scariest thing to a healer, and makes it so that, hey, this trash pack that should have been, let's say it just takes triple the time that it normally.
What the fuck? What kind of group takes triple the time to do a trash? What the fuck? You'll take, like, if you use cooldowns or not, you'll take longer or sooner, but it's not gonna be triple the time. It's gonna be like, instead of 5 minutes, you're gonna spend 7. Actually, no, that's a bad example. So instead of like spending a minute and a half on a trash pack, if you use your cooldowns, you're gonna spend 40 seconds instead. The difference is not that major. You're not gonna triple the fucking time unless you're all not pressing your buttons.
Normally would.
Unless like 2 people are AFK, you're not gonna like. I've cleared dungeons as 2 people. Someone would leave. Someone would be DC. Situations happen. Understandable. Sometimes someone is very toxic and they get booted, but it's not that big of a difference. Like, even as 2 people, I've cleared a dungeon. Me as a paladin, and my friend was I'm trying to remember that situation. I believe either Samurai or Red Mage. I remember them having a sword, but essentially I maintained the healing and the cooldowns just through some clemencies or the intervention on them. And we didn't take triple the time. We still cleared everything just a tiny smidge longer. If the dungeon would be roughly like 25 minutes, it just took us like 35 instead. Just an extra 10 minutes. That's it. It didn't triple the fucking time.
Especially because now the healer is spamming heals and they're not, say, spamming Holy or Art of War if they're on Scholar, or like it really kind of drains and slows the momentum of the entire fight. And
healers, if you're watching this, I play supports, I main healers, and I main tanks. I love you to bits. Your damage is very important, but it's not that fucking important. If you have to heal instead of doing AoE, do that. Your damage is not that important. Especially in dungeons. On Savage optimization, if you reach an enrage, optimizing your damage is gotta be important. But in dungeons, extreme roulette, your damage is not that important.
And that's not even getting into some of the DPS cooldowns. Like if you're on a
I promise you, your role as a healer, or even tanks as well, your roles are very important. But knowing how to do your roles is going to be a lot more important than, you doing fucking extra damage.
range physical DPS, you have a AoE 10% mitigation buff, which is great. And if you're on, say, Bard, you get Nature's Minute, which is a great healing amp. Really great healing amp. I actually really love when like my Bard uses that. But these days, if I have a range physical DPS in an expert dungeon, I'm just like, thank you for just using Peloton, which is like such a great ability, but I
Who do you fucking do dungeons with? Peloton. Like, physical range will fucking spam that in between packs non-stop. What dungeons do you go to that they're not using Peloton? Well, I guess it's just new players, but it's like, you're like, how cooldown deprived are you if you're like thankful for a fucking Peloton at this point?
I actually am just like, thank you for just using that. It feels like asking for Peloton these days. I don't even ask, but just hoping that they hit Peloton.
Yeah, nobody asks for Peloton. Most of the time, if you're playing healer or tank, you don't even notice who the fuck is in the party with. Actually, if you're a tank, you will notice who is in the party with you, because a decent tank will try to adjust the boss so the melee DPS can actually keep DPSing. If you're a healer, you will not probably give a shit. Everyone will look like health bars to you instead of, you know, rolls. You're not gonna give a shit.
It almost feels like too much. Now let's get into the larger tapestry of things. We have a lot of players returning to Final Fantasy XIV. Let's face it.
They're not returning. A lot of people have quit this game. Some are returning, but at the moment, because there's a new expansion, majority of the players are not returning. They're new players. Majority of the players coming to the game right now are new players. They're coming during the most quietest time, because honestly, I don't know. Because new expansion, because, you know, World of Warcraft is not in the best place. They're currently doing some weird fucking Pandaria shit. Like, the majority of the players are gonna be newbies.
I don't care if this is a hot take, cancel me on Twitter. Like, Endwalker has not had much middleman content. Like, the missing middle is what I'm going to call it.
Middleman content. What is he? What does that mean?
Here is that we have had amazing higher end content. Like when I started to prog DSR before I figured out that my fiance cheated on me.
What the fuck? Oh my god! Every time call your fucking videos. Every time it's like, well, I was progging tea, but also my boyfriend is a doctor. It's like you always throw these fucking uppercuts out of fucking nowhere. You're having tea with someone and you uppercut them in the jaw with shit like this. Like, I was doing DSR until my fiance cheated on me. I'm sorry that happened to you. I don't give a shit though. That is, I feel like clearing DSR would actually make me feel better if my fiance fucking cheated on me.
I'm gonna try to not cry about that. That I'm still in so much pain. But we have had a lot of people leave, and now a lot of people are coming back.
So many people were upset about your fiance cheating?
And they're obviously relearning the game. And so I think
no one's relearning the game. When you come back to the game, you're not relearning. You're coming back to the knowledge you had before. People aren't. This game has not had anything happen in the last like 8 months. What are you actually almost a year now? What are you relearning? There's nothing to relearn. Nothing new happened. Nothing changed.
I think that acknowledging that these players are not bad players, because that's what fundamentally is being missed here. These are not bad players.
You're telling me healer and tank mains are coming back to the game and they're walking around like dummies punching fucking traffic cones. What's the mitigation? Oh no, you gotta heal me because I'm not using mid. And the healers are just fucking looking at their fucking white mage stat. The fuck is this tick? What's a cooldown? You're telling me a healer is looking like at the two fucking DPS buttons that they have and thinking, these two are the priority. I don't know what the rest of these buttons do.
But these are players that are being paired or put in teams where, hey, they do need to resort to...
I feel like you're just trying to put yourself in a situation where it's like you're justifying your fucking lack of skill at this point.
Spamming on GCD heals. It sucks. It is not the most adaptive.
Hold on, I need to figure... I hate that I do this like for both you and Despairs at this point, but... Cole Evix, what server are you on, Cole? Are you Gilgamesh? There's like 2 of you. The ones that don't have weird amounts of X in their Avix. I'm gonna assume not this one, because that's not a Hrothgar. Okay, let's check you out. You haven't cleared the tier. You motherfucker, you barely have any experience. This is done on Summoner. Summoner. Is there a healing Athena one? Yeah, there's one. Okay, good. Okay, you've done nothing here. You haven't cleared this tier either. Oh, wait, hold on. I just realized this is on normal. You haven't cleared Savage this tier. Okay, fuck it. Whatever. You cleared some Savage here. You didn't clear PRS. That's fine. This is some experience, I guess. What's happened here, by the way, Cole? Like, this is not me judging you. We already know you're a mid healer, but like, what happened here? Why do you have like so much reprog on these two fights? And then it looks like you kind of broke up here. Like, did prog go bad? Like, you farmed this for a while. What happened here? I'm actually curious. Okay, Asphodelos. Yo, you cleared the tier. Let's go. 100, 1, 2, 3 fucking clears. Let's go. Omega, none. Well, he didn't clear PAS. I don't know why I'm fucking checking this. DSR. Oh yeah, cheated on. Right. You cleared Uwu 15 times and you cleared T 18 times. Good. Are you still clearing it or? Cole. Motherfucker. You know what just hit me? All of these clears Cole has had in November, which are admirable, mind you. He's cleared an ultimate. I'm proud of him. It's very good. Like, everything pretty much done in a week. I assume he cleared it all in Party Finder. He didn't buy clears this time, I'm assuming. Uwu as well. September. Okay, the month before that, he could. Okay, T, Uwu, cleared. Very good. It is 2024. It is. What month is it? It's May. It's fucking May right now. You're still using T footage. Play the fucking game already. Whatever. God, fucking both Despairs and Cole just keep fucking reusing footage just to make cheap content.
Response,
Holy shit.
But they're kind of being just taught, hey, in order to get through this content, I really need to carry a whole lot of weight. And it doesn't matter, even if it's like an.
You know, like a lot of these problems that I'm hearing coming out of his mouth, including, you know, his fiancée cheating on him, I feel like a lot of this shit that he's talking about can be fixed with communication. Talking to your co-healer or partner. Solving problems, planning shit. Communication can solve so many of these fucking problems. Just pure fucking simple communication.
An extreme trial. Like if you're in Zeromus X and you're at that last final phase, which I think is brilliant. I love it so much as a healer. But your healer's chatting you, like let's say you're paired with a bear healer, they're not using Sacred Soil or Caracal. Well, shit.
Then they're just a new healer. They're not a bad healer.
You're gonna need to pick up a lot of slack there, and
or just tell them, ask them to use skills. You don't need to pick up a lot of slack.
Lilies are not going to cut it on their own. Like, let's be honest, I've said it many times on this channel. Expert Roulette is not difficult. But, and it's a massive Nicki Minaj sized but, Expert Roulette is massively difficult when you are on Nightmare mode and you're on a heal.
This is very weird to fucking listen. Maybe it's because I play tanks. I play like Warrior and Paladin that have self-healing. But I've literally ran the dungeon without healers, or because people have left, or like, you know, as 2 people. Specifically expert. Or level 90 even. Like, maybe it's because I have a lot more gear, but it's like, whatever he's talking about, it feels like it only applies to like casual players or just new players. Casual players that don't really care about what the fuck is happening. They just want the fucking, you know, swallow minion in the one dungeon. They maybe just they're farming minions or tombstones for the glamour. I'm trying to figure out who is this for. Who are you telling to spam Medica too, Cole?
Healer and your tank isn't using cooldowns. They're doing wall-to-wall pull, so thank God up above that at least they're doing wall-to-wall pull.
I cleared the boss with everyone dead as Dark Knight. Who need healing? Yeah, it's like even like thinking right now. On expert specifically, Dark Knight can solo I'm thinking like about all the dungeons in Endwalker right now. I'm thinking right now like you can definitely solo the last boss on like most of these dungeons. Some of them come to mind, like specifically the turtle dude in the cave. I don't remember it. Nascar Meglione. Kazano, I believe his name. If it's still the same as the one in Final Fantasy 4, I don't believe you can solo that one as a Dark Knight. But a lot of the other ones you can definitely solo as a Dark Knight without healing. But again, this is us who are more experienced and are a bit more high end players talking. What he's talking just feels like it applies to just new players. And he's just telling new players right now to spam fucking Medica too because you're a chat healer. Which is, though, however, I'm trying to phrase this in his favor, it sounds weird. You're chatting as a healer by spamming Medica too, but at least you have a fair as a. I don't know. It seemed like he just fucking started playing Warrior and he forgot how fucking healers work.
Your DPS are doing like the absolute bare minimum, and then these pulls are taking 3 to 4.
Also, he's like describing like the most fucking like weird situations. Your DPS are doing the absolute minimum, your tank is not using mitigation, and your healer has to spam healing. That is like again, a lot of this situation can be solved with communication.
4 times longer than they.
Or it's just a party of 4 new players that just got to level 90 because this game doesn't really teach you properly how to optimize your jobs.
Have, and I even myself will get into the like mentality of, okay, shoot, I need to shift my entire perspective on this because my off GCDs are not going to be enough on their own. This tank is going to fall, and that's really the trick of it. Is you only really know.
He also sounds like he's not using Aether Pact if he's relying on the fairy to fucking heal the team.
What you can do when you build that confidence, and how's confidence built is just built through exposure to the content, and then you can have that like backup like mentality.
Did he just slurp? Hold on. What the fuck did I just hear? Hold on. Did he just slurp while talking?
What you can do when you build that confidence, and how's confidence built is just built through exposure to the content, and then you can have that like backup like.
It sounded like he was talking for so long, drool started coming out of his mouth.
Mentality about like, hey, normally I could pop Seraph and like throw like a protraction on this tank to amplify healing just a little bit and a little bit of healing buffer, and then this pull will be fine, and I'm just going to spam Art4. Great, that's great. But when the tank's not using mitigation, when the DPS is really slow, okay, now I need to spam maybe some like emergency tactics sucker. I know that you shouldn't normally need emergency tactics because of barrier. I know. Bad example. I'm just spitballing here. I'm not like
Okay, healers, if you ever fucking... Don't listen to him, please. To improve as a healer, you just constantly optimize. It's like doing reps. You do something enough times, it'll come naturally to you. Just optimize. Start small. Start optimizing just soil or Kirikoli or certain cooldowns. Afflatus for movement. Just start small and start just learning and improving on the spells and like learning and embracing your spells as part of your constant rotation. Don't save spells for emergencies. Don't, optimize your damage and do some cooldown like management. And that is like the reason high-end players are high-end players. Because they do this for so long. I say so long, it's not like multiple years. This can literally just like be a couple of months of you just doing roulettes with this mindset. Both for tanks and healers, by the way. It's like reps. If you have this mindset, just like reps, you optimize certain fights, savage, normal, extreme, doesn't matter. This applies to casual, high-end players, anyone. If you just go with the mindset of optimizing your performance in any fight, it's gonna come second nature to you, and you're gonna improve much better as a player. Don't go in as a like what he's describing right now is a reactionary shield healer, which is fucking weird to even listen about. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a bit out of touch. Don't hold it against me, please. But for any job, it's like just optimize. I'm talking specifically support jobs right now. Just optimizing your performance is where you're gonna shine. You can save a party, like there's a reason your tank will die to lack of to trash packs, but somehow you're able to keep a DPS alive while they're, you know, dealing with the same situation. I know healers have dealt with this, but like, don't listen to this. Don't try to like specifically have a certain like way of doing things. Have them. It's all in the mindset. Gear doesn't matter. It's all about the mindset. You adapt a certain mindset specifically while playing. You don't have to change your playstyle because your playstyle will simply improve for you the way you play it. So whatever the fuck Cole is talking about, try to smoke different weed from him.
talking off of a script. But knowing when to do that is only built through exposure. And now the thing is, we're talking a lot about healers here. A lot of tanks run out of cooldowns
I like that there's like 50 seconds left in the video, and now he's talking about tanks. Okay.
too. Like if a pull is taking 3 to 4 times as long, you've
3 to 4 times long. Where the fuck is he taking out these numbers? Where? Like, holy
popped
shit.
Rampart, that's 90-second cooldown. So you pop Shadow Wall, that's a 2-minute cooldown. Okay, now you're left with the Blackest Night and
And arm's length, and reprisal,
Oblation, and
and oblation.
you're like, I'm kind of here.
You have fucking cooldowns. Stop. You're literally describing fucking experts. Stop. You have cooldowns. You have more cooldowns than fucking anyone. Use Shake It Off. Use fucking... Oh my fucking Christ. Sorry, not Shake It Off. Like, you don't use Missionary for packs of trash, but like, holy shit, like, you have so many cooldowns. Why are you just naming 3 and then just going, oh, I don't have cooldown? Yeah, you do, you dumb fuck. Holy shit, I thought this would be like the usual, like, oh my god, Cole is talking out of his ass, but he's talking it out of his ass like it's a megaphone right now. He's like holding his ass cheeks in a round position and he's just like fucking screaming through like the most weirdest and dumbest shit right now. Hello, Baldank. Sorry, you caught me at a weird time right now.
You're on fumes, guys. Can you pick up the deeps? But the thing is, they usually don't pick up the deeps if it's just that kind of group, and it's
The whole situation he's describing is like, it's so fucking weird. Extreme are not hard, but they're also giga hard if your team is stupid. They're so stupid, they don't do DPS enough, they don't do mitigation, and the healer has to heal instead of DPS. What the fuck is this like? I refuse to believe like that people are that unfortunate that it like there's a situation like this where people just can't solve it with communication. Holy shit.
definitely also not worth
Read your fucking tooltips. That's gonna be like the conclusion of this video at this point.
saying something because oh god, we're not gonna get into that in this video. But in closing, I really want to say that I don't think that it is these players' faults, and we're gonna see a lot of players, especially with the new
What the fuck was this whole video? I don't think this is the players. What the fuck is this thumbnail as well? What is this? I'm not looking at it. No. No. What is with these? Like, I genuinely wish like in Dawn Trail we'll have a lot more high-end players, specifically making a lot more guides or just like videos like Renan does, or like Momo used to do. He would do like specifically high-end like dungeon optimization for people who wanted to learn Scholar. But like all these fucking casuals like Desparius or Cole just like misinforming, like, and they're making videos that don't require even paying sub or doing anything in the game. I don't think Cole has been in the game for the past like 6 months, ever since he's done with T. Because this is the same fucking footage he's probably used in a number of videos. I have another one of his videos up, and if it's gonna have the same fucking footage, I will fucking scream.
expansion on the horizon. Come and try Final Fantasy 14.
Ha, he said come. Anyways, I'm done with this fucking video. Holy shit.